Hello, it's me, Mary B. Welcome back to my podcast, y'all. It's Something's Gotta Give, and today's episode is going to be the wrap up into the trilogy series I've been doing into the Chakra System, based off the book Eastern Body, Western Mind by Anodia Judith. And we're going to be focusing on your fourth chakra, which is your heart, your fifth chakra, which is your throat, your sixth chakra, which is your third eye, and your seventh chakra, which is your crown. I just want to thank y'all for making space with me to learn about this energy system and how important it is to just the overall understanding of the human build and how it might particularly pertain to you. But I also want to thank you for allowing me to share my story, and hopefully it resonated with you into a mirror within yourself to do something about your life. I honestly, why I said that is because I cannot believe I actually just finished this series on a book. I was so nervous to actually do this, and I'm just proud of myself that I did. You know, when you start something and you have a hard time finishing it because that devil voice starts to talk to you and feeds you all these lies that you're not able to, you're not powerful enough, or you don't know what you're doing. It's so much easier to give into that voice instead of sticking to the process. And I just wanted to give myself my flowers because I stuck to the process. So everybody should give themselves their flowers for sticking to anything from beginning to end. On that note, that was a perfect segue into the fourth chakra, because that is the space where love and emotions are held. Love is the answer to everything. Love is the human experience, but without love, you cannot feel pain. And unfortunately, pain is an emotion that is required for all of us to feel throughout this human experience. It's the balance of yin and yang. In the book, she refers to it as eros and eros. I believe that's what she says. Sorry if I'm butchering that. But essentially, when we're young, we have these first experiences to relationships, and we go in it with such wide eyes and hopeful energy for things to be great and magnificent. There is nothing like your first love. There is nothing like your first kiss. There is nothing like your first friendship with your best friend. There is nothing like your first embrace with your parents. You know, there's nothing like having your fifth grade teacher be the best teacher you've had yet, you know? But often when we experience the greatness of what life has, we have to meet the imbalance of that. Not the imbalance, but the opposite of that. And so when you have a great teacher one year, you might follow up the next year with the worst teacher you've ever had. And that is a lesson for you to learn the balance within yourself, right? The book said something about the soul is a part of yourself that longs for connection, longs for relationships, which is why it's easy for us to engage in conversation about romance so easily with other people, especially when we long for it. And it's something that is desired for the masses to have somebody to be with. But oftentimes when people get with someone, they feel constricted and there's no space for them to be themselves. So while they're in this relationship, they yearn to be free. That part of you that is yearning to be free is called your spirit. Your soul and your spirit are in a dance for the entirety of your life. And the importance of this chakra is to learn the balance of these extremes. Because it is important to feed the soul, but it is also important to feed the spirit. Now, take a look at your romantic life. If you are someone who enters a relationship and you feel the highs of love and the honeymoon stages and it feels very grand, that's awesome. But if you've done this dance quite a few times within relationships, you know that the honeymoon phase only lasts for so long. Why? Because partnerships are there to teach you something about yourself that you may not know yet or you're not ready to face yet. But the universe is telling you it is time for you to learn this about yourself, regardless if you think you are ready or not, right? Sometimes we do not have a choice on when we're given lessons, but we have to make sure we learn from them. Otherwise, there is no process of evolving in life, right? If you choose not to learn from something. And so within partnerships, when you're done with the honeymoon phase, problems start to arise. And those problems are often problems that are mirroring a part of yourself back to you. Everything in your life is a mirror. So the closer that person is to you, the more that person is there to teach you something about yourself. So when you get to the point where the relationship is struggling and you're like, hey, I don't know if I can do this anymore, and y'all break up, and now you're on to the new relationship. If you're a serial dater, you're just looking for the highs of the relationship and you're not ready for the reality of what a relationship is. And that reality is evolving with that person. So getting through that point of discomfort, that point of discomfort is there for you to grow. So if you're with a person, of course you're going to experience the highs, but are you able to weather the storms? The older I get, the more I understand the truth of this message. And what makes it difficult is you cannot force someone to grow at the same pace as you. You cannot do that. Everyone is on their own path in this world. Having a partnership also teaches you to have a certain level of patience and respect and space for someone else. You have to learn how to tend to someone else and not just yourself. But there's a balance to that too, because you can't get lost in the care of someone else disregarding your own self. So you have to be realistic within the matter. Are you dating someone that you feel like you truly can evolve with in this life? If the answer is no, then of course a breakup is necessary. So the heart chakra just deals with the ebb and flows of emotion, the ebb and flows of love, the ebb and flows of your ties within your family. Grief is an emotion that is formed within the heart. And if that's not if that's not processed correctly, grief can constrict your heart space. You can feel very tight. You feel like it's hard to breathe. It's hard to move. Your chest is collapsed. When we experience heartache, our chest is so caved in. Me personally, with the amount of childhood trauma I went through, I walked around with a hunchback for quite some time. And due to my practices within yoga, I've been able to get more of a better posture. But if I neglect my practices within yoga, I start to walk a little bit more hunched over too. If I'm dealing with a hard situation, I can tell because it's weighing in on my posture. When I started seeing my holistic chiropractor, he prescribed to me to take hawthorn berry, which helps with your heart health. You know, the fun fact, elephants can die from heartbreak. Humans can too. The life expectancy for a woman is so much shorter when she devotes her life to her partner and to her children versus her life expansion when she's single. I tell you this because the heart can really make or break how you operate in this life. Emotions are the root to any diseases that one has. So please make sure you learn how to maintain an equilibrium with every emotion that we all endure. Whether that be the highs of love or the lows of pain and grief. Learn how you can get yourself through that. Breath work, meditation, exercise, having some form of being able to release the emotions that are within you are very vital to the process of healing. So when you're in the highs of love, being intimate and having sexual relations is a way to release that high. But when you're in pain and when you're in grief and maybe you've lost somebody, you're going through a breakup, or you've made a really tough decision in your life, or things are looking scary, you might have just lost your job. You got to figure out how you're going to get yourself through that too. That doesn't mean you're binge eating. That doesn't mean you're drinking more. That doesn't mean you're smoking more. That doesn't mean you're just doom scrolling or watching TV a little bit too much. That means you exercise, you move your body, you get vitamin C, you get vitamin D, you take walks outside. Maybe you get a fur baby. Maybe you help out with shelters and feed the homeless. I don't know, but be a participant in this life. Do not take a backseat to what is happening. That is the way you get in balance, is when you embrace the reality of whatever is in front of you. Now moving on to your throat chakra, which is my personal favorite chakra, and it's because I had the most blocked throat chakra. And the way your chakra can be blocked is by not self-expression, by not letting yourself be in self-expression. So with the way I was raised, I was in many different dynamics, but all of them did not allow me to express myself in any kind of way. I actually learned within this book, sexual abuse can be the biggest confinement for your throat chakra, because you are taught by your abuser to not say anything or you will be in harm and danger will come your way. Not only did I have my experiences with sexual abuse, but I also was emotionally abused, mentally abused by my adoptive mother, with the amount of secrets I had to keep for that household. We call that a codependent household, right? I just never had power. We don't give children power. Authority, like, I did not have a good relationship with authority. Authority was never introduced to me in a way where I could raise question without feeling like everything was going to go to hell. Authority rules your third chakra, which is your solar plexus, but I told you all of your chakras are intertwined, so what may happen with one, you will see in another. So because I had a bad relationship installed in my solar plexus, that directly blocked my throat chakra. We, as a society, come from a generation that learned that God is superior to man, man is superior to women, and every one of those are superior to the child. And so when you are being raised, you are being whipped into being the perfect hushed human within that hierarchy. So many of us have a blocked throat chakra. I feel like that is the most blocked chakra within your entire system. Your throat is the canal between your lower chakras and your chakras above. There's only two chakras above, which is your intuition, and your crown, which is your consciousness of the world. If that cannot communicate thoroughly to the grounding of your body, you're off. If you have a blocked throat chakra, you might have a lot of imbalances within your body. Take a look into that. Healing your throat chakra looks like freedom of expression, taking up space. When you start to do that, your creative self is truly born. There are only two ways energy can really be released within your body. We don't have many exits and entrances within your body. So you have your mouth and you have your reproduction system, but your reproduction system can't talk. Your reproduction system has its own way of communication, and because how our society looks into sexuality, that isn't necessarily something that can be used to voice how you feel. You have to use your mouth. Closed mouths don't get fed, y'all. Closed mouths do not get fed. You have to tell people how you feel. You have to ask for something if you want it. Everything that you want is on the opposite end of whatever fear is in front of you. Start speaking your truth. People say, oh, you have to go to therapy. Sometimes people say talk therapy isn't helpful. Well, have you found a therapist that honors your truth? That allows you to be heard? Are you even in the space to own the truth that's coming out of your mouth? Are you even in the space to express that yet? If not, you should work your way into that. It is so liberating to be able to be yourself and to trust that whatever came out of your mouth, you have full control over it. You do not need to second guess yourself. Ever. You're no longer a child. You don't have an authority figure that's going to raise hell on you if you choose to say something. Now, this is not me giving you permission to act a fool with your mouth. You know good and well what you should be saying and what you shouldn't be saying. That goes back to the episode of Power of the Tongue, which just reinforces how powerful this throat chakra is. Please get into rhythm with it. Noise, vibrations, music, all of that comes from this little neck of ours, our throat. Our voice is tied into the throat chakra. You ever hear somebody talking, you're like, dang, you got a good voice. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are attracted to that. We are energetic beings. Voices are energetic things. They vibrate on a wavelength. I just think the throat chakra is so, so cool, man. Do what you can and say what you need to say. Closed mouths don't get fed. Moving on to your sixth chakra, which is your third eye. Your third eye is your intuition. Ooh, women are special because we have a vortex literally living inside of us, in our wombs. We have the power to create life. We do so often. It is so important to learn how to get in touch with that third eye. Your intuition is the quietest voice you have in your head. It's not going to yell. It's not going to tell you more than once. It's going to come very quick and it's going to be very quiet. But once you start to quiet your life, the more clear you're able to hear those messages. Your sixth chakra and your seventh chakra goes into the unknown of this world. And what I mean by unknown, it goes into the things we cannot see. And a lot of people feel like, well, because I cannot see, or because it's not widely taught, it's not true. Don't believe that. Don't believe that. All of us have gifts, one way or the other. Some people have it magnified because they've taken the time to explore the unknown. You know, the sentient gifts, the clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient. I think there's two more. I apologize. But those only get strengthened when you trust that the knowledge you're seeking is already within you. So the seventh and the sixth chakra, your crown and your third eye, are in communication. Very close to each other. The third eye is more so the knowledge that comes from within. And your crown chakra is information that's coming from the consciousness within itself. And that consciousness comes within you. And you're able to decipher all of that information. I sound a little crazy. I'm not crazy, y'all. This is real life stuff. This is stuff that we're all able to kind of tap into. It's kind of, the more you seek it, the more it'll come to you. Let me tell y'all a story. So one day I was having an internal conflict about my mother. I just kept having a sick inkling that something was going on with her. And I needed to get in contact with her, but I don't have contact with my mother. And the last I know is that she's homeless somewhere in Massachusetts. My dad tells me every now and again that he runs into her, but they're not together. And I'm old now, so, I'm old now. Ew. But I'm older now, so there's no point of them really having communication. But this particular day, I just maybe felt my mother's energy. I'm not going to say maybe. I did feel my mother's energy. You are so connected to your mother in ways that it's scary. If you have a relationship with your parent and they just know something's going on with you, that's called telepathy. It's very much real, and all of us have it. The closer you are with somebody, the more you feel their thoughts, the more you feel their energy, the more you can feel if something's up with them. And I was having one of those days where I could feel something was up with my mom. And I just randomly got an incline to go for a walk. I was like, all right, whatever, let's go for a walk. So me and my dog, we're out and about, and I usually have this set pattern that I go while I'm on walks with her. But I was following my intuition that day. Everything was really quiet. And I try to walk. I do not walk outside with headphones in. I think the music of Mother Nature is so beautiful. I like to hear the wind and the trees and the birds and even the cars. There's just something very calming about that. It helps me get back to a place of equilibrium. So I'm having one of those walks, and because I'm very calm and I'm trying to work through this inner conflict, I'm hearing that my body's telling me to go this way and that way. So I'm going a completely different route than I usually do. And I get on a sidewalk where I see a woman walking towards me with her dog. I did not want to be around anyone this day. So usually I would have went to the other side of the sidewalk just so I can avoid the quick little, hey, how you doing? Our dogs sniffing each other and so on. But I just could not do that. Something told me stay right here. So her and I cross paths. We get right under this huge tree. And crows are one of my spirit animals. Crows and ravens. They're one of the smartest birds. They're one of the smartest birds. I think they have the brain of a 7-year-old. And they have just been there with me throughout my major shifts in life. And so we get under this tree, and the crows start going crazy in this tree. I look up, the tree is covered in crows. But not only that, I witness an owl. It's broad daylight in the middle of Los Angeles, and I look up, and an owl is looking straight down at me, just holding my eyes. The woman doesn't notice this at first. She doesn't realize that my mind is very tapped into my third eye and my crown right now. I'm kind of just like, what message is being taught to me right now? And at first she's like, oh, the birds are probably going crazy. They love little dogs, da da da. And I said in such a grounded voice, I don't think this is that type of interaction. Look up, there's an owl. She looks up, her whole energy shifts. And she's like, wow, owls, that's my spirit animal. And I was like, that's funny because I really relate with crows. She was like, you should look into the owl totem, see what that means. I'm like, okay, cool. And now I'm like, okay, this is getting weird. I'm a firm believer that sometimes random strangers are going to leave the most profound impact and messages on you. This lady was one of them. She begins to tell me, you're struggling. You need to find balance. You're a messenger on this earth. But you're not going to be able to send out those messages to people until you find balance within yourself. When I was your age, I used to struggle too. It's okay. Don't worry. You'll get through it. You'll find the balance. and you'll begin to share your messages. And that story brings me to tears because back then I was very imbalanced. I think I was still trying to figure out how to be sober. I think I was still smoking every day. I had just started to be honest with just how traumatic my childhood was to me. I don't think I even realized how severe my rape experience was. I don't think I was aware of just how traumatic my life was. And fast forward, here I am doing what? Sharing my messages. So I think that was a beautiful way to just wrap up this trilogy series. Tell you that I told you I needed to be rooted, to trust that my third eye and my crown was at work. That goes from the base of my spine to the very tip of my head. Just like I am right now. I'm very rooted in my truth. And confident that I know that that was a spiritual experience that I had on this earth. So on that note, I hope y'all learned something from this. I hope you maybe read the book on your own time someday, or maybe look into it a little bit more. The more you search and you get information from different teachers, different stories, you're able to integrate it into your own personal experience and start to feel a little bit more balanced, a little bit more grateful, a little bit more happy, and a little bit more healthy. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast, y'all. It is always an honor to be heard, to be seen, and to grow with you all. I look forward to the next episode. Till then, bye-bye.